Yes, welcome to another super awesome show. Super awesome moment of truth. That's what I call it. That's what you better call it. Welcome everybody, I'm back. It's about time for me to drop it on your head. It's the one and only Kenny Talk, right? Kenny Talk. And every single, I say at least twice a month, I try to bring you guys what I like to call the moment of truth, the relationship truth. It's some information that I'm going to provide to you, drop on your head to create dialogue. Salute to everybody out there that responded to my first episode of the Moment of Truth, my Mother's Day special. Man, I got a whole lot of feedback from that, a whole lot of love. Guess what? And I'm giving it all back to you. And that's how we do it. It's the Moment of Truth. And today's topic, a woman that can cook. You're not going to believe what I'm going to say today. A woman that can cook. Tell me about a woman that can cook. Tell me about it. I'm listening. Because back then, that's what they used to say, right? Man, the women used to know how to cook. They used to know how to cook. Nowadays, they can't cook. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down, just like I did on the first episode and how I'm going to do on every episode. I got my notes with me. I'm going to tell you guys what's real and what's right. But I'm going to start with what's right when it comes to a woman that can cook. For all the fellas out there. Fellas, you don't want to miss this. Ladies, go get your man. Fellas, check this out. This is going to help you guys out, right? So when you talk about a woman that can cook, everybody feel like everybody got their own opinions of it, right? So I felt the need to kind of break it down to tell you guys what's right and what's real about it, to allow you guys to pretty much make your own decisions and come up with your own understandings and your actions as far as what you're going to do. Because when my job is to bring you guys the relationship truth. And it's the funny thing about truth. Whenever you get truth, it changes the dynamic of your life. Because we make a whole lot of mistakes, a whole lot of judgments, a whole lot of decisions. A lot of times it be based on a lack of truth or lack of a lot of the right information. You know what? You get a pass at that point. You know why? Because you're ignorant. You ignorant to something that you didn't have a full understanding of. So the mistakes you made is totally understandable. But once you get the relationship truth, because I break down what's real and what's right, you're no longer ignorant. You're now responsible. And when you become responsible, you now become empowered to make the right decisions for your life. If you continue to do the same thing, then it's something that you chose, and we good with it. So, are y'all ready to get started? Can I drop it on your head today? The relationship truth around a woman that can cook. Okay, first and foremost, a woman that can cook, fellas. If you get you a woman that can cook, she's going to be a lot. Majority of them are natural homemakers. And what's a homemaker? Something that we need once you get up in our age, or once we get to the point where we talk about being in a serious relationship, when we talk about being in a relationship that's going to involve a woman being the mother of our children, you want a homemaker, right? And a homemaker is one that can prepare that food and make it a homey place for you after work, make it a homey place for your children to be nourished and to be pretty much educated and sent off out into society to be successful members of it. But the only problem is that when you deal with a woman that can't cook, then there's a good chance that that's going to be impacted. A woman that can cook is a natural homemaker, okay? She already got the techniques. All right, here's another thing. It was a guy, I wanted to find out what his name was. I saw him do a post. I thought it was interesting. He said that he gave out the top 7 reasons to date a woman with children. And his number 2 reason was guess what? It was because a woman with children, it's a high chance that she know how to cook. Because she got to prepare food for the kids, right? For her child or her children. So when you come along and you start dating this person, you already got a natural homemaker, right? And that's what we need, right? A natural caregiver. Because you know what? Cooking is it nourishes the body. And you know how they say, hey, you know what? You got to cook with love. So naturally, if you taste somebody's food that tastes really, really good, or taste a woman's food that's really good, you know there's a high chance she cooked with love. So she got the best intentions for you, right? Okay. Last but not least, they say the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That might be true for a lot of people, right? That might be true for a lot of people, because we at the point right now where there are a lot of women out there on the scene trying to find Mr. Right. There's a lot of women out there trying to get in these serious relationships, and they keep stumbling on the people that are not ready or what have you. But once they do come up on somebody that's ready, you gotta be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta be prepared to be a homemaker. You gotta be prepared to be a homemaker. So those are some of the right things that I wanted to share about a woman that can cook. She can put it down. Now, guess what I'm about to do now? I'm about to take it on over to what's real. Hold up. Y'all see me? What's real, man? Okay, first and foremost, I need y'all to understand that cooking is a process. Wouldn't you agree? Because to preparing any dish or preparing any meal, it's a step-by-step process that has to be followed. And it's called a recipe. Now, this recipe has different types of ingredients. This recipe calls for those ingredients to be delivered at the right time with the right amount consistently every single time in order to make that dish what it is. Wouldn't you agree? So it shows that when you got a woman that can cook, that you got a woman that can follow a process. She can follow a process, or she should be able to. Okay? So if cooking is a process, we need you to understand that from day one when you meet a guy, ladies, from day one when you meet a guy, this process starts. The process starts. Everything that you give in the relationship, that you do in the relationship around this man, and fellas, everything that you allow to be done and everything that you do, and ladies, once again, things that you allow to be done, you're setting the stage, or you're creating a recipe, you know. So if you're creating this recipe, understand that after I say about 90 days, if you got a guy that's still in a relationship with you and he wants to be with you after 90 days, there's a good chance he likes that recipe. He likes the setup of the way things are going, so he chill. Ironically, this is about the time where a lot of women start to change things. Why is that? Because after 90 days, or after 6 months, or after a year, however long it is, of us being in this situation and living with those ingredients, now we start to bring up things that we'd like to change. Things that we've actually identified over the 6 months, 90 days, or a year period, however long the ingredients, the recipe was actually being formulated. And then we said, well, you know what? There are some things that I want to talk to you about that probably can be done differently. Here we go. Ladies, understand, just like with the recipe, when this particular time comes, you have just changed it. And what happens when you change the recipe? When you feed a person a dish or a meal with the recipe slightly changed, I don't care if it's the same meal or dish, we're gonna know that it's different by the way it tastes. Okay? So if it tastes differently at that particular time, you're not gonna get the same reaction that you got initially. Now, I had this conversation with my friends, and boy, they reached for my throat. They jumped on me. They was like, well, Ken, sometimes, Kenny Talk, you have to change the recipe, especially when some of those ingredients, even though you've allowed them, they're detrimental to us getting to the next level. And I agree. But I need you to understand this. When you're doing the point to where you're actually creating this recipe, this setting, this scene, you can't wait until the recipe is solidified to make those changes. You got to make sure you jump into it right at that point. If you don't do it at that time and you wait, just like we're creatures of habit, we'll get comfortable. And once we get comfortable, you try to change something, guess what? It'll be a problem. And then you know what? We went on to say something else, and I'm finna get to the point. We breaking it all the way down. Because at this point, we bring about do's, our don'ts, what we don't want you to do, what we don't like, things of that nature. And I say to myself, that's where we mess up at. That's what we mess up at. We got to make sure that our ladies, I want to make sure y'all understand out there. It's a process to it. Because check it out. Sometimes, this was a conversation we had. You have to be able to make those changes in relationships in order to get to the next level. But you know what I say? Before you make those changes, you first have to compel that person to want to be with you. And since I'm talking to the ladies, you got to compel that man to want to be with you, right? Because if you switch up the game and you make it uncomfortable for this guy in order to get him to change your behavior or start doing something different, if by chance you're not solidified and compelling him to be with you or want to be with you, he'll go somewhere else and try to get that same recipe to get it back like he wanted. Because you know why? Because you're not done building the relationship or convincing this person that, guess what? This is the place for you to be. This is the best place for you to be. Y'all understand? This is the best place for you to be. You got to make me feel like that before you go to change this stuff. Right? Because when you think about it, I'm going to give y'all this last example. When you talk about, you can actually talk about women, when we talk about women back in the day knowing how to cook and things of that nature. But women back in the day understood something slightly different. They understood not to change that recipe, especially if that's the recipe that keep your man in the house, that keep your man with you, right? Like a good example is the color purple. And I know that y'all might say, well, God, man, why would you choose that? But I know it's extreme. But Celie knew not to change the recipe with Mister. She knew not to change it. Because that's what she did, whatever she had to do to make him happy. Now, did he go by it in the right way as far as the way he treated her back? Absolutely not. One day, Celie got to the point where she got fed up and she said, enough is enough, and she left him. All totally understood. But for the most part, men nowadays, we're not like Mister. We probably don't intentionally try to beat you up or hurt you and do all that kind of stuff. Talk bad about you and kick you down because you know what? As women, y'all wouldn't even be with us. Y'all would be gone. Y'all would been gone. But Celie set the stage with him. No matter how he acted, no matter how he treated her, she made sure everything was always done, right? And that's what we got to make sure we do. We got to make sure we do that, because if women have to understand that you guys control the recipe in the home. And if the recipe is not favorable to the guy, he's not going to want to be there. I know it sounds crazy. Because sometimes us guys, we have some crazy expectations, right? Sometimes we want stuff from you that you just feel like, man, you just can't give. But you know what I got to say to that? That's the guy that you chose. So if you chose that guy, you got to rock with whatever it is. Or, you know what, you move on. And that's what a lot of women do. Just understand, if you choose to move on, that's the decision that you made. And you know what? Don't feel bad, because you should have made it for the betterment of yourself. And that's what we're going to drop it at. That's going to be the moment of truth, everybody. What's real and what's right about the moment of truth. So now, what I like to do is I like to break it down for y'all and do what is called the final thought. The final thought. It's a little bit of spoken word that I put together. I tried to do it on the last one, but it got cut off, right? But I need y'all to feel me on this. This is a little something that I wrote about a woman that can cook. It rhymed too, it's pretty fly. But I might mess up a couple of times, but don't judge me. I not too long ago wrote it. Check it out. Okay. A woman that can cook possesses a slight advantage when it comes down to keeping her man fed. If the fastest way to his heart is truly his stomach, why do women try to get there through his head? Ooh. Now, there are so many tips, tricks, and games and sexual techniques used. Books have been written to show you how to hook a man like a fish. You have your expectations set, do's and don'ts clearly defined, yet you don't understand why you're not the one he picks. Now, a woman that can cook has her specialty dishes, foods she cooks or prepared that are deliciously divine. She understands that there is a such thing as a recipe to follow, and she follows it consistently every time. She do. All right. Now, if she can cook, she know the importance of each ingredient being correct. Not too much or too little. Nothing left out or replaced. Can't do that. Now, you can't change it and expect it to be the normal finger-licking feast, because he'll notice there's a difference with the way it tastes. And that's just how I go. Because he'll know that there's a difference with the way it tastes. So ladies, don't switch the game up on him like that. That which you've allowed, you got to take some responsibility for it too, right? Because once we're creatures of habit, it's hard to break a habit. So you got to jump on that stuff right when you see it. And I guarantee you, you can create a recipe that your man will want. All right. So, salute. Thank y'all for letting me be a part of your day. You know what? I'm going to continue to wake up and work on the side of the solution, you know. And now that I've given you the moment of truth with it, what the hell are you going to do with it? Salute. I had fun. So y'all be on the lookout for him, the YouTube channel, Kenny Talk. Go in and you can check out all of the moment of truths, right? Also, don't forget, like that page. Kenny Talk the Moss, is that the name of it? It's one of them. I had fun with you guys. Salute. And I'll be back fast and you can say cat in the hat with the moment of truth, the relationship truth. Man, I got to go. I'll let y'all later.